Hey everyone, Miss Dempsey here. This is a guide for round 10 of the 2021 FA Manufacturers Cup Stage 2 taking place at Fuji International Speedway with the Group 4 cars. And let's get this started by mentioning that we're on the racing soft tires and brake balance is at -1 for time trial. So stay on the left side of the track and brake just as you pass the 150 meter board. So you'll be braking hard for a while. Slowly ease off of the brakes as you turn in and gently get on the throttle as you hit the apex. Then bring yourself towards the right side of the track, and your next braking point is just after you pass the 100 meter board before you pass the orange marker that I have highlighted right here. It's a little hard to see, so if anything, just brake after the 100 meter board. Quick burst of braking and carefully get on the throttle. Then, just as you pass this path that is on the right, that's when you want to ease off of the throttle. Wait until you pass the next path before you fully accelerate. Stay on the right and brake as you pass the orange marker that is on the right before the 50 meter board. Brake hard for a short moment. Quickly ease off of the brakes and get on the throttle as soon as you can. Eventually, you want to make your way towards the left side of the track, and you're going to look for the big Dunlop sign that goes over the track as you want to brake right as you pass it. So in a moment you'll see me brake just as I pass it. Brake as much as you can. Take advantage of the red and white curbs and do lots of throttle control to let the car rotate through these turns. Bring yourself towards the left and look for the start of the turf that is on the left as you want to brake just as it starts, but just use a little bit of braking power. You're just trying to fine tune the car's direction. Then left off of throttle and start to brake just as the curb on the left ends. And you want to use just a little bit of braking power, just trying to fine tune the car to go for a late apex through the second to last turn. Bring yourself towards the left, and for this turn, I look for this white line, and just like the last turn we just went through, using just a little bit of braking to try to bring yourself around the corner, go for a late apex and get on the throttle. But that is pretty much it for the lap guide. We'll finish up this lap and then we'll take a look at the strategies. For the qualifying session, you have 5 minutes to try to get a good qualifying time, which means that you only have 2 chances to try to get the best qualifying time possible. So try to get out of the pit stops as soon as you can, and you pretty much just want to push right away as the tire multiplier is a little bit low for the qualifying session. And you want to find a slipstream buddy because slipstream is going to be ultra useful here at Fuji, especially at the main straight. If you get it nailed down, it is possible to shave off around half a second just by getting the slipstream off of the main straight as you're starting your qualifying lap. And make sure that you get the slipstream from a fast car. So for example, the Dodge Viper is a pretty decent car to get the slipstream of. You don't want to get it from a Hanley car like the Megane Trophy or the 4C, as those cars don't have any sort of speed. But be aware that slipstream qualifying is a double-edged sword, because if it works right, you'll shave off quite a bit of time. Just as the first place, I think he had the slipstream qualifying and got 0.6 of a second ahead of me. But if the car in front of you, they mess up, or you get too close to them and then they mess up, then there's a risk that they'll get in your way and your qualifying lap will be ruined. So you want to take that into account in case if you are thinking about doing a slipstream qualifying session. But at the end of the day, you only have 2 chances to try to get the best qualifying time possible, so make sure that they count. Alright, moving on over to the race strategies. We are doing 20 laps at Fuji International Speedway with the Group 4 cars. Fuel is a ×2, so fuel is not an issue at all, but the tire wear is a ×5, so tire wear is an issue. You're given all 3 tire compounds, but there is no tire requirement, so you can use any sort of tires. You can do a one stop or whatever. You don't have to fulfill any tire requirements. So this is a really weird race for starters. And as you're starting your race, just be aware that whichever tire you're starting on, You have cold tires, so you want to be a little careful as you make your way through the first lap, especially the first turn, because the last thing you want to do is try to use your usual braking point when there's no heat in your tires. You end up sliding off of the track and end up punting 20 people and they all get mad at you. But anyways, so this is a weird race because there is no tire requirements, so you can use any tire compound, you can do a bunch of wacky strategies, but the main strategy that you want to go with is basically going to boil down to a couple of questions. The first one being, how good is your car on its tires? And two, how good are you on your tires? I say that because if you do decide to go for a zero stop strategy on any tire compound, then you're going to need to be pretty proficient when it comes to tire saving. And you can actually see me trying to do some tire saving, so I'm braking just a little bit earlier, not going at full braking power, so I'm braking at around 80% braking power, trying to be smoother and not using too much turning input, and just trying to drive as smoothly as possible. Brake balance will also play a pretty big role in tire saving if you do decide to go for a zero stop. And yes, I did test quite a few strategies, and the fastest strategy that can be done is a zero stop on the racing soft tires. I'm not joking. You'll actually see the Viper that's in first place do it. The Hyundai Genesis that's in front of me also does the zero stop on the soft tires, and then there's me doing the zero stop as well. And for the zero stop on the racing soft tires, your car basically needs to be average or good on the tires to be able to pull it off. And for some cars, it'll be a bit harder to do. So for the Dodge Viper, it wasn't the easiest thing to do, but it is possible to do a zero stop on the softs. But for other cars like the Toyota 86, Megane Trophy, and the Hyundai Genesis, they're better on the tires, so it'll be easier for them to pull off the zero stop on the soft tires. And I mean, as you can see right now, I'm starting lap 11 and I'm already about a second per lap down from my fastest lap time, and I'm still going to keep going. I'm just trying to do as much tire saving as possible. So basically, with all this tire saving, I'm sacrificing a couple tenths of a second to save a bit more tire life so that my tires can last a little bit longer, so hopefully by the end of the race I'm not losing like 3 or 4 seconds per lap. And the thing is that if you're in an all-wheel drive car or if you're in a front-wheel drive car, don't even bother doing the zero stop on the racing soft tires because your tires are not going to last. Especially in a front-wheel drive car, your tires are already toast after 10 laps, so yeah, zero stop is not going to work for those cars. And you can see my tire wear at the start of lap 20. Those tires are pretty worn out. And if you're in an all-wheel drive car or in a front-wheel drive car, yeah, they're going to be way dead. But after the end of this run, I basically was able to do a zero stop on the racing soft tires, brake balance at +4 for pretty much the entire time to save the front tires. And this run, I got a 35 minutes and 24 seconds. And the other two cars ahead of me, they also went for the zero stop on the soft tires. And yeah, so that's a bit of a comparison for their lap times or their total times versus mine on the zero stop. So is this strategy possible? Yes. And if you're able to do it, this is the fastest strategy overall. But this is not an easy thing to pull it off. Your car also needs to be good when it comes to tire wear, and you need to be good on the tire saving as well to be able to pull it off. So the zero stop on the racing soft tires, it's the fastest one, but it's once again very difficult to do. And we'll just take a quick look at it again. This time I'm testing some of these strategies out in custom race. So with the zero stop on the racing soft tires, you're basically tire saving for as long as you can, adjusting the brake balance, being easier on the brakes, braking a little bit earlier, and being even gentle on your steering input, especially as you go through 100R, which is this long right turn over here. This turn, you want to make sure that you're not too harsh on the car, especially with the right turns towards the end of the lap, because your left tires overall are the ones taking most of the tire wear, so you want to try to be as smooth through there as possible so you don't end up destroying your tires. And this is basically all about taking care of your tires, just trying to make them last all 20 laps, because the tire wear slowly starts to kick in at around lap 6. By laps 9 through 10 in the Dodge Viper, it's possible that you'll be around 1 second per lap down, unless if you're taking really good care of them, then it's possible to delay it just a little bit further. And you're just trying to avoid any and all shenanigans, because this is basically you going in for the long run. So you don't want to have the car sliding around. You don't want to end up in unnecessary battles. You want to pick your battles, because the last thing you want to do is end up in a super long battle to the point where you're shredding your tires and you're going to end up regretting it. And at the end of the race, I'm eventually going to end up setting a 35 minutes and 16 seconds for the total time. And yeah, you can see how bad the tire wear gets. Other cars, they may have it better. Others, they may have it worse. But yeah, some cars can do the zero stop on these soft tires. Others cannot. So let's say that you're in a car that cannot pull off the zero stop on these soft tires, or you're not good enough to be able to tire save to pull it off. So let's take a look at the one stop, where you stop at around laps 8 to 10 to change over from the racing soft tires to another set of racing soft tires. And unlike the zero stop on the racing soft tires where your tire is saving all day, with this one, the one stop, you pretty much just want to push as much as you can, because you have to go through a long pit stop process just to get a tire change, and you're going to be set back quite a bit. So let's go ahead and skip on over to the end of lap 9. So I'm going to change on over to another set of racing soft tires, since there's no tire requirement. Your pit window is going to be laps 8, 9, or 10. I highly don't suggest pitting anything later than lap 10. So laps 8, 9, or 10, those are going to be your times to pit. And it does take a while to enter the pit stop. We're only going in for a tire change. No need to refuel. And after that, we're going to just keep pushing. And that's the whole thing with the one stop. You just want to push as much as you can, just to try to shrink that gap between yourself and those on the zero stop, because your pit loss is 22 seconds, and that is a pretty big pit loss. And the unfortunate thing is that even as you push as much as you can, it's still not going to be enough to be able to catch up to the zero stoppers on the soft tires, that is. With this run, I was 8 seconds slower compared to the zero stop on the racing soft tires, so you can see how much of a disadvantage any other strategy is compared to the zero stop on these soft tires, which is it's a huge shame. And for those on the all-wheel drive or front-wheel drive cars, this race is a slap to the face to them. So if tire saving is not your thing, or you just cannot do it for any reason, then the one stop where you only do 2 soft stints is your next best bet. The next potential strategy to do is the zero stop on the racing medium tires. So yes, you do have to tire save with the racing medium tires, but because they're racing medium tires, they do last a bit longer compared to the racing soft tires. So with this one, you're doing all 20 laps on them. You're tire saving a lot as well. And with this one, you pretty much just want to try to leech off of the slipstream from those who are ahead of you. You want to try to avoid any sort of unnecessary battles, because you're already at a disadvantage with the slower racing medium tires. So just like the no stop on the racing soft tires, with this one, you're kind of just trying to run your own race. You're trying not to get into any shenanigans, any unnecessary shenanigans or battles, because if you do get into any unnecessary battles, you're going to be losing time and you're going to be shredding your tires. And the thing about the zero stop on the racing medium tires is that it is a little bit slower than the one stop going from soft tires to soft tires. It's about 2 seconds slower from the testing that I was doing, but In a race situation, if those on the one stop they get into a lot of unnecessary battles, then that could benefit you because in the long run, you may be able to get ahead of them, especially since they have to pit. So it'll be a bit harder for them to potentially catch up to you. And with the slipstream, you can potentially save yourself a little bit of time. Just by taking advantage of the slipstream, you'll be able to get a tow on the main straight, so it'll be a bit harder for those on the one stop to catch up to you. But the thing is that you still need to do a lot of tire saving. So tire is eventually going to come on in, and it's going to be a bit of a miserable experience, especially if you're not that good when it comes to tire saving. So the zero stop on the racing soft tires got a 35 minutes and 16 seconds. The one stop going from soft to soft got a 35 minutes and 24 seconds. And the zero stop on the racing medium tires got a 35 minutes and 26 seconds. So unlike the one stop, with this one, you're just trying to tire save as much as you can, just trying to avoid any sort of unnecessary shenanigans. You're mostly just focusing on trying to get a squeaky clean drive, and hopefully it'll benefit you in the long run, especially as for those in the one stop, they have to pit, and if they get into any battles, then it'll make it harder for them to catch up to you. So the one stop soft and the zero stop mediums are pretty close, so between those two, those are very close, so you can choose depending on how good you are when it comes to tire saving and how good your car is when it comes to tire saving as well. Now let's take a quick look at the racing hard tires where you do a zero stop on them. It's useless. You're going 2 seconds per lap slower than those on the racing soft tires. You finish 25 seconds slower than those doing the zero stop soft tires, and you finish 15 seconds slower than the one stoppers. Don't even bother with this. So at the end of the day, there are a couple potential strategies for this race. The fastest one is the zero stop on the racing soft tires, but it is very difficult to pull off because you have to do a lot of tire saving, a lot of brake balance adjustments, and just a lot of things to try to make the racing soft tires last all 20 laps without facing a steep drop in your times. So for the cars and people who cannot do the zero stop on the racing soft tires, the one stop on the racing soft tires, so both since are the racing soft tires, is the next possible strategy to do, where you pit around the halfway point of the race to switch over to another set of racing soft tires. This is the next best possible strategy to do, and unlike the zero stop on the soft tires, it won't have you pulling your hair out in frustration. The zero stop on the racing medium tires is possible if you're fully set on trying to do a zero stop but can't get the zero stop soft tires to work. This strategy is possible to do, but once again, it's also very difficult to pull off. And the zero stop on the racing hard tires, it's way too slow, so don't even bother using the racing hard tires. So let's go ahead and take a look at places to overtake and the penalty serving zone. The main straight is obviously the best place to get the overtake done, especially with the use of slipstream. You can use the slipstream for teamwork with the bump drafting or to easily set yourself up for an overtake. And after that, it's going to be very situational for overtaking, for example, through turns 3 and 4. So the Coca-Cola corner right here and 100R coming up. Try to pick your battles because you don't want to try to enter every single battle and just end up wasting your own time and others' times. Through the hairpin, it is possible to go for a move over here, but once again, very situational. You want to pick your battles because the last thing you want to do is end up getting into a lot of unnecessary battles and just waste your time. Entering the Dunlop corner through here, it is possible to go for a move. You want to try to get the inside line and try to get past them before you go through the first hairpin. Otherwise, you will end up losing a lot of time. And after that, this is extremely situational where I actually want to suggest trying to go for a move because this part, the sector 3, you're pretty much just going in a single file line unless if the car in front of you just really messes up a turn. Be careful with the last 2 turns, including this one, because multiple lines can be taken. so you don't want to try to swoop on in and then end up getting in an incident. And we just passed the very start of the penalty serving zone, just at the start of the main straight, so do not get a penalty because you will lose a boatload of time. Alright, and that is pretty much it for the FIA guides for both manufacturer and Nations Cup, as this was the very last guide for the 2021 season. Just want to give you guys an awesome thank you for just giving my channel a chance, watching these videos, and hopefully these guides have helped you out. Hopefully gets a couple podiums or even a couple wins. And yeah, just thank you guys for watching these videos. These guides, a lot of them were straightforward, but some of them, like this one, was a real pain in the butt to make. But hopefully these guys have helped you out. So thank you guys for watching my videos, giving this channel a chance. Thank you to the people over at Playseat for giving me this Playseat challenge. I almost forgot the name. Made my life a bit more comfortable because now I don't have to worry about back pain compared to this cruddy old chair that's next to me. But anyways, thank you guys for supporting the channel. And as for what's going to happen from now to the Gran Turismo 7 release, I have no idea. I gotta think about that for a bit, but I'm gonna go ahead and go for now. So thank you guys once again for like the 100th time for supporting this channel. And yeah, so that's all from me. This is Mr. MCA wishing you a good race, and try not to get the glare from the screen, and I'll see you guys in the next video.